In this video, if you're a beginner that's never done sales before or you're about to start a new sales job, I'm going to give you some advice that's going to make this a lot easier and basically tell you what I used to do to get to six figures in sales extremely quickly. So if you're feeling unsure about jumping on calls and making sales, these three things are going to help you a lot. The first thing that works amazingly well that no one ever thinks about is when you first get on calls, what you don't realize is that the way you show up to the call influences your results. So what do I mean? What I see in lots of salespeople who I train that are beginners, and even a lot of intermediate salespeople, honestly, is that they come across as very unsure and not very confident when they get on about what they're selling, basically. So maybe this person's never done sales before, or maybe they have sales experience, but they've never sold high ticket, so it all seems very new. And they just come into this very hesitant, like they're walking on eggshells, which is the last thing that you want to do if you're trying to make sales. Something to remember, and this is probably the most important thing to remember as a salesperson, is you are in charge here, not the prospect. Stop looking to the prospect for like certainty or reassurance. You decide how this is going to go. Like you decide where the call is going, and you need to have this frame of mind like, I am in charge, I am the leader here. And on every call, you just want to think to yourself that you are 100% sure that the product you are selling is the absolute shit. So you just want to have full conviction in it. If you're selling a bad product or service that you're not able to have full conviction in because it sucks, then I don't know why you're selling that. You need to go sell something else, obviously. But you need to have total conviction that this is the thing. This is the product or service is going to solve all of your problems. And you'd be crazy not to buy this. Which, like I said, if your product or service is good, it should be easy to have that attitude or that belief. So the way I look at it is I'm just like, this is the cure to fucking cancer. Like, I know for a fact that you are a complete idiot if you don't buy this. Now, obviously, I'm not saying this to them, but that's how you want to be thinking. Like, this is amazing. Like, everyone wants to buy this, you know? If you have conviction in what you're selling, people are way more likely to buy it. That is the punchline. And you can bring that confidence out of you on command. It just takes some reps. So before I get on calls, I just used to think, I am the guy and what I have is amazing and I know it's going to help them. So I made that the priority. And one of the reasons that this works is because when you get on a sales call with someone, they have no idea what's going to happen. They just scheduled a call because they have some interest in buying this product. And even if they know they want to buy it, they're still unsure of how this is going to go. They probably got some questions. So they're just looking to you to see like, where's this going to go? You know, they have a ton of uncertainty. And that's why I say you need to realize and keep in mind that you are in charge as the salesperson. You are the leader. Because if you're hesitant and unsure and you're like walking on eggshells, right? They're going to bail. People are going to be like, I'm not giving this guy money, right? The salesperson wasn't even confident, so I'm definitely not buying this. But if you're convicted and certain in what you're doing and what you're saying, they're just going to follow that lead. That is just how people work. So if you're a beginner or you're new to this, how you show up to the calls makes all the difference. The next tip is for the job search. Now, this is not a hard and fast rule. This is just something I suggest to lots of beginners who are hesitant or feeling intimidated about getting into high ticket or just sales in general. What you can do is start with B2C businesses overselling for a B2B business. So that means you're selling to regular people, to the normies. You're not selling to business owners. Why do I suggest this? Because you're going to get good at selling a lot faster. And this is why. When you're selling B2B, you're selling business to business services. And an example of that could be like you're a salesperson for some type of marketing service, like YouTube advertisements, right? So you're selling for an agency where they're running YouTube advertisements for businesses. So you're basically selling them more money. That's what you're selling them. Hey, buy this service, we'll run all your YouTube ads and make your business way more money. When you're selling a service like this to businesses, this sale is generally going to be very straightforward. The point of this call is to sell them something that's going to make them more money. That is basically the summary of all B2B sales, more money. Businesses want to make more money, and pretty much any product or service they buy from a business or a salesperson, that is the point of it. But when you sell to consumers, to the normies, to regular people, many times you're selling them something that's going to solve some kind of problem in their personal life. And that could be anything, right? And examples of these are coaching programs. So when you're selling people coaching programs, you have to get this person that's possibly going to buy from you to open up to you emotionally and like tell you things about their personal life, right? About problems they have going on. And when you try to sell them a coaching program, that could be on their relationships, their health, a multitude of personal things. So you actually have to get to know them and get them to be comfortable enough with you to open up to you. And your people skills are going to get good very fast, which is what you are going to need if you want to make major money in sales. And in my opinion, this is just my opinion, in B2B, that person, the business owner, doesn't really have to open up to you emotionally as much because it's more about the business and the money. But sales is all about people. And if you can get good with people and getting them to open up to you about the actual deep, dark reasons they got on this call, right? Because when people get on sales calls, they don't immediately open up and tell you what's going on. You have to pry that shit out of them. So if you can get good at that and genuinely making a connection with someone where they're comfortable enough to do that, to open up and tell you what's going on, you're going to get good at sales very fast. Most salespeople are horrible at this. They just read a script like a robot every call, and they never make a connection with anybody, and they wonder why they make no money. Also, B2C sales tends to be a little easier because when you're selling to business owners, they're not messing around. I don't know how else to say it. They're going to come to the call prepared. They've already shopped you against your competitors. There's just more on the line for a business owner because he has to give you access to his business. Now, there's money on the line here, and that's always going to be a bigger deal than a regular person giving you $5,000 for a coaching program. Now, the flip side of this, and this is a super important flip side, B2B sales is not hard. These are just factors that you will deal with in B2B that you will not in B2C. These are just facts. And many times in B2B, sometimes a business owner will just want to buy from this specific person because they like their brand. So they like the person behind it. So it can go both ways. People are going to be just as difficult no matter what you're selling, but it's important to consider these things. I think overall you can start with either one. It's really up to you. But the factor of really honing your people skills and getting people to open up to you emotionally is super underrated if you want to kill it at sales. That is the point. Number 3, and some encouragement. Whatever high ticket sales role you do start in, whether that's B2B, B2C, as an appointment setter, a closer, doesn't matter. You just want to go at it all in. Now, this might sound like cliche, obvious advice, but I work with people all day, all the time, for years to get into this. And guess what? 99% of them don't go at it all in. So it's not cliche and obvious advice because no one's fucking doing it. What they do instead is they go, oh, well, I'll just see how this goes, right? I'm just going to dip my toe in. I'm just going to try this out, right? That's probably what you're thinking. Let me try it out, see how it goes. That's why you're going to fail because you're half-assing it. You've decided from the jump you're going to half-ass this. And when you half-ass things, you make no money, and then you get discouraged and you quit. The people that succeed at this, the 0.01%, is because they decided they're doing this. They weren't like, oh, maybe I'll do it. Let me just see how it goes. They're like, no, I'm doing this. I'm all in. I'm going to burn the boats. And that's how you succeed and make the money. So, and what does that look like? Except that the first month, 3 or 6 months, who knows? It all depends on you. You may have to work extra hard. And you may have to learn a lot of new things and earn your way to that consistent 10K a month and more. Shocking, but if you can do that, that's going to translate to you making way more money than you've ever made before. Sounds like a legit trade-off to me. So what are things you could do to do that? You could volunteer to take extra calls, work a lot of extra hours. You could study the product in your off time so that you know it really well. What type of clients am I getting? What type of objections am I getting all the time? Study your calls, right? Practice the sales framework. Just make this the only thing that you do over the first few months, and that will pay off 10, 50, 100 times over later. Just take it seriously. That's all you have to do because most people aren't taking this seriously. They don't take anything seriously. They don't take anything in their life seriously. They make tiny daily things super serious though. Like, oh man, I have to get ahead of this one person in traffic. I see this all the time when I'm driving. People will literally freak out and just to get one spot in traffic. But then they do nothing to improve their life, fix the problems in their life, get successful or anything. It's insane to me how people operate. Like, is that one spot in traffic really that important, right, is winning this argument in the comments. You cannot be more of a loser if you're discussing things with people in a comment section. Like, you cannot get lower on the food chain, bro. Like, your life sucks. You're poor. You don't have any of the relationships you want. But hey, you beat that guy to the stoplight in traffic and you won that argument in a comment section. You know what I'm saying? I'm just speechless watching how people operate, bro. But just remember that there are many people just like you, maybe, depending on who you are, that are doing this successfully and making a lot of money. If you saw some of the people doing this and making 10K, 20K a month, you would realize, wow, there's this entire universe I wasn't even aware of because I live inside of my small little bubble in my small little life circle and only the things the algorithm shows me on my phone. And then you would also see, if you did break out of that, and you would think, oh wow, if all these regular people are doing it, I can do it too. I can definitely do this shit. Whether or not you succeed at this all depends on whether you decide that you can't or you decide that you can do this. So you just have to decide that you can do this, take it seriously, and go all in. No one can do that for you. This video can't do that for you. You have to do that. That's the end of the video. If you want my help getting a closer roll or a setter roll, go to the links in the description. Until next time.